good, Chris? All right. All right, good evening, everybody. We will now convene the regular meeting of the West Sacramento Port Commission, August 22nd, 2018. And so to lead us off, Commissioner Sandine, if you'll lead us for the pledge.
Salute, pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All commissioners are present. The commission did meet in closed session, and so did you want to report out on that?
Yes, the commission met in closed session on 3 items for conference with real property negotiator. The first item on the APNs listed in the agenda, I will note that Commissioner Cobaldon recused himself from that item. The second item involved property at 2895 Industrial Boulevard, and the third involved a parcel listed in your agenda, SBA parcel. No action was taken on any of these items.
All right, thank you, Mr. Mitchell. So no other comments. So item number 1 is presentations by the public on matters that are not on the agenda but within our subject matter jurisdiction. I see no slips to speak, so that we'll dispense with item 1 and go to consent, which is items 2 through 4.
Move the consent agenda with a modification of item 3, which is rather than the... Sorry. I'll move the consent agenda with a modification of item 3, replacing the 1-year lease term with a month-to-month. Is that sufficient?
Okay. All right.
Second.
All right, so we have a second by Commissioner Johannesson. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, so that motion with those consent items and that amendment to item 3 carries unanimously. That takes us to our regular agenda, which is item 5, and that's Mr. Toft.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Good evening, Commissioners. So this is a little bit of a show and tell. We have some pictures here to update you on the status of the Lake Washington cleanup project. So the action tonight is to ask you to approve the 2018 Boating and Waterways grant for $272,000 and amend the contract with Global Diving and Salvage to allow us to complete the Lake Washington cleanup project, which we've been working on for 5 years. And so just wanted to summarize the project for you and show you some pictures. So the project in totality, about 25 derelict vessels, including 20 barges, sunken, burned out vessel debris, a lot of hazmat, which came off initially with the help of the Coast Guard and DTSC, and a lot of related landside debris. And here's a summary of year by year, the funding that we've received, from whom we received it, and that totals $2.5 million over the 5-year period. The Port has matched that. You have approved a 10% match for those boating and waterways grants, which we've received since 2014. And then I just wanted to note that there's a lot of additional costs that, we have port attorney costs, staff, West Sacramento Police and Code Enforcement have been involved in the project as well. All right. Yeah. Thank you, Madam Clerk. So just wanted to take you back to 1993 and show you kind of the origin of the mess. And this is a photo that shows you kind of an orderly looking operation here. The source of this trouble was a boat manufacturing operation, and so we're going to fast forward about 20 years to 2012 when we first started diving into this, and you can see the deterioration, and this is hard to appreciate from an aerial photograph, but what had been an orderly collection of barges over in this part of the lake deteriorated through fires, sinkings, hoarding of personal property, etc. So next. So here's some photos of what we were left to deal with. Next. And so, 2014, so this is a photo now after, in 2013, we got all the hazardous materials off the barges. That was the Coast Guard operation I mentioned. That was an initial funding between the Coast Guard and Cal Recycle, about $1.4 million. And once we got all the hazardous materials off, then we attacked the actual vessels themselves. Next. April 15th, this one looks similar, but we took 2 barges out with the initial Boating and Waterways grant. Next. And this shows you the operation to abate those 2 barges. Next. And then here you go. Now you can see some real progress. All the barges are gone on the north side of the lake, and what we were left with is sunken and burnt out debris on the south or the west side of the lake. And so the project evolved from a landside operation to a water-based operation with equipment mobilized from Mare Island. Next. And some photos of that and the equipment used to abate in the water with that equipment. Next. Some more photos of that operation. Next. And so this is a photo of what we are left with today. And there's one remaining contraption. It's a dry dock steel piece of equipment on the north side of the lake, and then some remaining sunken and burnt out vessels on the other side. And so with this last round of funding, we should be able to complete the project and call it good. I think that's my last slide, yeah. So with that, I will conclude. I will say this has been my favorite project, I think, over the years. It's been satisfying, and I look forward to moving on to recreational, expanding the recreational side of the lake, and once all the junk's out. So, thank you.
Good stuff. All right. Well, thank you, Rick. Are there any questions or comments? We do have a recommendation in front of us.
I'll move the recommended action.
All right, so we have a motion.
I'll second.
And a second by Commissioner Ledesma. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? So that motion carries unanimously. Thank you very much, Rick. All right, item 6 is commission reports. Are there any reports by any of the commissioners? Seeing none. The Port CEO report.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. Just briefly, we're going to hear from Rick one more time. We want to give an update on the situation with the Rio Vista Bridge. We had a meeting earlier this afternoon where Chair Villegas attended, along with the city's advocate, City and Ports advocate, and making some progress there. I'll turn it over to Rick just to give an update for the benefit of the commission.
Sure. And Mr. Chair, you're well aware of this. The Rio Vista Bridge is a drawbridge, and it's State Highway 12. About 2 weeks ago, it got stuck in the up position, creating a massive traffic jam. Caltrans was able to lower the span, and it got stuck in the down position, which precludes vessel traffic. The problem is a stripped gear in one of the lifting towers, which they have sent to Alabama, of all places, for repair. And they have successfully implemented a temporary procedure whereby they have some semi-trucks with winches on them attached to these lifting tower cables. And so they are able to lift it up and down with a lot of advance notice from vessels, which is a major operational inconvenience for us. Vessels, particularly our fully loaded cement vessels, many of them need daylight transit because of their length and depth, and they also need to come in on high tides. So when you combine daylight and tides, that doesn't coincide with the preferred middle of the night position that Caltrans would like. So I think Caltrans they've done an excellent job kind of on the fly with this improvised solution. and they are talking about a 4 to 6 week timeframe for having those gears replaced and reinstalled. So that is going to continue to be an inconvenience for us. It will also potentially impact our maintenance dredging operation, which is scheduled for the first week in September, and which is occurring just above and below the Rio Vista Bridge. So we have been receiving, well, we're monitoring it closely, obviously. Coast Guard has been great, and we're working with, as Aaron mentioned, our state representatives to help inform Caltrans of the urgency.
Right, so there'll be follow-up meetings on that. We're involving Senator Pan's office, Assemblymember Aguiar Curry, who represents Rio Vista, soon Assemblymember McCarty, and really just trying to both work on making sure the interim solution continues to allow ship passage while we hope to accelerate that 4 to 6 week timeline to deal with the permanent fix. So we'll keep you posted as it goes forward. And that's my report.
All right, thank you for that. Are there any questions?
So is Caltrans ceding to the schedule issues around light and tide, or are we struggling on that?
Yes. Yes and no. I mean, they are coordinating with the San Francisco bar pilots on windows for transit, but they need so much advance notice to lift the span, and the pilots can't get underway until they have confirmation that it's up for safety reasons. So generally, yes.
Right, I mean, Ben Franklin can give the advance notice, I mean, of tide and light. So it seems like that actually should be in our favor, that we know what these periods are. And I know from our prior work on trying to do issues with the Tower Bridge and the I Street Bridge, the primacy that the navigable waterways have, but there kind of has to be a crazy ant pushing on the issue, given that Caltrans is also obviously facing pressure from the communities that use Highway 12 for their commutes and what have you. I hope we're being equally loud about the topic, because it won't. And if we need to make further engagements with Caltrans and with the governor's office and with federal representatives as well about maintaining navigability, I'm certainly willing to help in that regard as well.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Any other comments, questions? If not, we are adjourned, and we're looking for a motion to do so.
So moved.
All right, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Are adjourned. Thank you very much.